Have you ever wondered why Medjugorje is considered one of the most enigmatic places in the spiritual world? What happens on that hill that continues to echo to this day, calling millions of people around the world in search of answers? Perhaps you've never heard of the 7 unrevealed messages, or perhaps you've come across mysterious rumors and reports surrounding this sacred site. What is hidden there, and why do these messages remain one of the greatest spiritual secrets of our time? Imagine yourself at the top of that hill, surrounded by nature, feeling the presence of something divine in the air. The same sense of reverence and mystery that envelops the place is also present in Our Lady's unspoken words, which, according to the visionaries, hold urgent messages for the world. Have you ever felt the need to understand more about these warnings and what they mean for our reality? The apparitions in Medjugorje, with their promises and revelations, are not just past events. They continue to resonate powerfully and impactfully today. And the burning question is, what do these messages have to do with you? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may surprise you. Mary's words, contained in these messages, speak directly to the hearts of all of us, and it's crucial that you know them, especially now, in such challenging times. Did you know that there's an urgent warning, not yet fully revealed, that could change the way you see the world? The truth behind these messages could be the key to a profound transformation in your spiritual life. Medjugorje is more than just a hill. It's a gateway to a deeper understanding of faith, spiritual preparation, and the signs of the times. As we progress, we'll unravel what lies behind these messages, understand what they truly mean, and how they can be the answer to the doubts and anxieties many of us carry. Now, let yourself be guided on the journey ahead, because the path ahead, it is filled with powerful and urgent revelations. And who knows, what you discover here may be exactly what you need to hear right now. As we delve deeper into this mystery, you may be beginning to sense the gravity of what's being revealed. The messages of Medjugorje aren't just stories from the past. They carry a profound spiritual weight, something that resonates within us, touching our souls in unexpected ways. Have you ever reflected on the urgency of these words? How do they connect to your own spiritual journey? If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below with what resonated most with you. Share your opinion, your experience, or even your questions, because what you think and feel is very important to us. Each comment is an open window to greater understanding and connection. And by sharing your words, you not only strengthen your own faith, but also help others connect with this much-needed content. And, of course, if you feel these messages need to reach more hearts, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content. Together, we can spread this light, helping to bring more people onto this path of discovery and spiritual transformation. Stay with me until the end, because what we are yet to reveal will surprise you even more. Medjugorje, a small town in Bosnia and Herzegovina, became the epicenter of something much greater than anyone could have imagined. When in 1981, 6 young people witnessed the apparition of Our Lady. In a simple setting, between green fields and an imposing hill, what seemed like an isolated event would soon transform into a phenomenon that would touch lives around the world, leaving a trail of faith, mystery, and miracles. What happened in Medjugorje was no ordinary event. It was as if the heavens had opened to send an urgent message, and it was through these visionaries, these chosen ones, that the world began to receive words of guidance and faith, addressed to all of us. Since then, Medjugorje has been a beacon of hope for millions of people who, searching for answers, found there more than a simple revelation. They found a profound call to inner transformation, an invitation for faith to become more than a superficial belief, but a way of life. The Catholic Church, to this day, has not officially recognized the apparitions of Medjugorje, which generates even more mystery and curiosity. But this has not stopped millions of pilgrims from going there, drawn not only by the possibility of witnessing a miracle, but by the inexplicable power of the messages emanating from that place. The words of Our Lady, shared by those who experienced these apparitions, are imbued with a unique spirituality. A spirituality that calls for change, conversion, and preparation for the times that, according to the revelations, are to come. You might wonder, why do so many people feel such a deep connection to Medjugorje, even without official church confirmation? The answer perhaps lies in the authenticity of these messages. They speak to the essence of Christian life, addressing themes such as prayer, repentance, the importance of faith, and the need for true and lasting change. Mary, in her apparitions, not only offered comfort but also warned of the challenges humanity would face. She didn't come to provide easy answers or quick fixes, but to point the way to conversion, to remind us of something that is already within us, but that we often need to be reminded of, that true peace and transformation begin in our hearts. What do these messages have in common with our lives today? The answer is not as simple as it seems. When Mary appeared to the visionaries, she spoke of difficult times, of an uncertain future, but also of a future full of light for those who accepted the call to inner change. The message, therefore, is not only historical, but timeless, resonating for those who seek not only to understand the words, but to experience the transformations they propose. Mary's words were never merely directed at the past. They resonate, in our day, more powerfully than ever. In an era marked by so much uncertainty, division, and searches for meaning, the messages of Medjugorje continue to call us to a new level of spiritual awareness. They invite us to pause, reflect, and, above all, act. The journey of faith proposed in Medjugorje is not easy, but it is profoundly transformative, and that is what keeps so many people falling in love with this mystery, because, deep down, we all know that true transformation begins within ourselves. In our daily choices, in our surrender to that which is greater than ourselves. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because as we discuss the unrevealed messages of Medjugorje, a question begins to emerge that needs to be answered. Why do these messages remain unrevealed? What is so profound and mysterious about them, and how can they truly impact our spiritual journey? Have you ever stopped to consider the power these words hold? What lies behind a secret that, to this day, Mary has not fully revealed to the world? Every unspoken revelation carries a weight, a responsibility, and that is precisely what we will explore in a moment. So, take a moment and reflect. Are you ready to delve even deeper into this journey? The 7 unrevealed messages of Medjugorje are one of the greatest spiritual mysteries of our time. During the apparitions that began in 1981, Our Lady left profound and instructive words to the visionaries. But among these words was one that, to this day, remains hidden, incomplete. What is contained in these secret messages that have not been revealed to humanity? Why did Mary choose to leave them silent? And what impact can they have on our lives? When you begin to understand the weight of these unspoken revelations, it becomes impossible not to feel that there is something profoundly transformative about them, something that can change the way we see the world and our own spiritual journey. The apparitions in Medjugorje were not only moments of encounter between heaven and earth, they were also a divine response to humanity at a time when spiritual questions were becoming increasingly difficult to understand. The Virgin Mary, with her compassion and wisdom, left urgent messages for humanity, offering a path of hope and transformation. However, while some messages have been made public over the years, 7 of them remain hidden. This mystery has aroused the curiosity of millions of people around the world. These messages are not just words, they are spiritual keys that, when revealed, have the power to open doors to understanding our destiny. They are messages that speak of the future, but also of the present. They not only point to what is to come, but challenge us to reflect on what we can do now, in the present moment, to prepare for the times to come. What was the Virgin Mary trying to tell us when she chose to keep these messages secret? Why, knowing the impact they could have, did she not reveal them in full? This is where the true power of these unspoken messages comes in. They invite us to a level of surrender and trust that goes beyond what we already know. Mary didn't just want to give us a vision of the future, but she invited us to experience something deeper, to make more impactful and truly transformative spiritual decisions. Those unspoken words can be a preparation for something even greater, something that transcends the limits of time and human understanding. Imagine if you had access to something so powerful, so revelatory, that it could completely change the way you see the world. These messages challenge us to abandon the limited mindset we often have about life and faith, and to make room for a new understanding, a new way of seeing and experiencing spirituality. They are not just a curiosity, but a summons. And what's most fascinating is that, even though they haven't been fully revealed, these messages continue to impact people's lives, as if they had already been, somehow, internalized in many hearts. There's something in them that speaks to us, even in silence. So, what do we know about these messages? What can we learn from them without all the words having been spoken? One of the unrevealed messages concerns the Great Warning, something Mary revealed to the visionaries and which to this day remains a divine secret. But what does this warning mean? How does it connect to the times we are living in now? We know that this warning is not just a one-time event, but something that has profound implications for all who seek to live an authentic spiritual life. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the impact of these messages isn't limited to what's contained within them, but to what they encourage us to experience. They challenge us to reflect on our own journey, the choices we make, and the decisions we make. These messages aren't just for others, but for you, for me, for all of us who yearn to understand what's truly important. And as we delve deeper into this mystery, you begin to realize that these unrevealed messages aren't just words that await us in the distant future. They speak of the present, of what we can do today to align our lives with the eternal principles Mary taught us. Consider for a moment, what do these messages have to say to us about the choices we make every day? What do they reveal about our spiritual journey and how we can transform it? Comment. This makes sense to me if you also feel that this calling goes beyond simple understanding and touches something deeper within you. The warning contained in the Medjugorje messages is not something simple, nor something that can be ignored. The urgency Mary conveyed to the visionaries is profound, and it is impossible not to feel that, in some way, she was calling humanity to something greater, something we can no longer postpone. These are not just words of comfort or guidance, but a silent cry that echoes in the hearts of all of us, a cry that demands that we make decisions now, before it is too late. These messages do not speak only of a distant future. They speak of the present, of the moment we are living in. And the truth is, if we do not begin to act now, we risk not having time to prepare for what is to come. Mary didn't come to give us a comforting vision of the future. She came to warn us, to remind us that we are at a critical point in our spiritual journey, and that if we don't make the right decisions, the price could be very high. The warning contained in these messages is a call to action, not a simple revelation to make us curious or wait for something to happen. No, what Mary asks of us is real change, an inner transformation that requires effort and commitment, and that isn't easy. What is being revealed is a challenge for each of us. We must choose now which side we want to be on, which path we want to follow. Imagine you're at a crossroads. On one side, you have a familiar, well-known path, with its certainties, but also its limitations and pitfalls. On the other side, there's the path of true transformation, of striving to live according to your highest values, with your deepest faith. But this path demands something of you. It demands courage, it demands renunciation, it demands commitment. This is the path Mary is calling us to follow, and her warning is clear. If we don't make this choice now, if we don't begin to change our mindsets and actions today, the consequences could be irreversible. It's not just about our spiritual lives, but also about the impact it will have on the world around us. Every choice we make has repercussions, and if we don't make the right decisions, the impact will be negative, not only for ourselves, but also for future generations. But what does this warning really mean? What does it want to tell us about the times we are living in? Mary speaks of a time when humanity will be divided, when the forces of evil will be more evident and aggressive. And it is at this moment that the warning becomes even more urgent. This division can already be felt all around us, where truth and spiritual values seem to be constantly challenged. What Mary asks of us is not only spiritual preparation, but also an awakening to the reality of what is happening around us. This warning is, in a sense, a warning not to lose our ability to discern, not to be deceived by appearances or the false promises of a world that has moved away from God. The impact of these messages is far greater than simply showing us what will happen in the future. They call us to live more consciously, to look within ourselves and see where we can still improve, where we can be more faithful to the values Mary teaches us. This warning is not a sentence, it is an opportunity. The opportunity to change now, before the moment is lost. It asks us not to wait for the moment of truth, but to seek this truth in every action we take, in every thought we cultivate, in every word we speak. What Mary asks of us is an inner transformation that will reverberate through every aspect of our lives, and by doing so, we can prepare for the times to come. Now, as you begin to understand the urgency of this warning, the question becomes inevitable. What will you do with it? How will you respond to this call? Mary isn't telling us that everything will be easy or that we will have all the answers, but she reminds us that with faith, prayer, and a true change of heart, we can overcome any adversity. The warning is clear. The time to act is now. There's no more time to wait, no more time to postpone the decisions we need to make. The choice is ours, but time is running out. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because what Mary teaches us isn't just about the future, but about how we can prepare for it now, in our everyday lives. What can we do today to live according to the warning she gave us? How can we begin to make a difference in our own hearts so we can be prepared for the times to come? It's not an easy change, but it's a change worth making, because it leads us to a fuller, truer life, more connected to what truly matters. And as we reflect on this, we can see that the impact of these words goes beyond ourselves. It extends to all those we connect with. Comment below. This makes sense to me if you too are feeling the strength of this calling and the need to act now. The prophecy of the Great Warning is perhaps one of the most powerful and mysterious revelations Medjugorje brings us. Talking about it is not easy, because the impact of this warning will be something none of us can ignore. What is promised here is a moment of profound revelation, something that, when it happens, will mark us all irreversibly. Mary, in her Apparitions, speaks of a great warning that will come to the world, and it is impossible not to wonder, what exactly does this warning mean for us? What does it reveal about the future? And, most importantly, what does it ask us to do in the present? Imagine a moment when everyone, regardless of their location or faith, will have a direct and undeniable experience of a divine warning. It won't be a mere vision or a passing dream. This warning will be real, something we will all perceive, and it will come as a call to reflect on our lives, our choices, and what we are truly doing with the time we have been given. The warning won't be discreet. It won't be something we can ignore or brush aside. It will be an interruption to our routine, a confrontation with who we are and who we can still become. This moment will be like a truth revealed in its purest form. Unfiltered, undisguised, the great warning will be a call to responsibility, a unique opportunity to change, to reevaluate our paths before it's too late. But what happens after this warning? What will it lead us to do, to decide? The truth is, when this great warning comes, it won't be something we can simply live with. Without consequences, it will be the starting point of a journey that will require profound decisions, choices that will change our lives forever. But here lies the mystery behind this warning. What does it really mean? Many believe it will be a moment of confrontation between light and darkness, where each of us will be called to take a stand, to make a decision that will define our spiritual journey. Others claim that the great warning will be a kind of cleansing, a revelation that will lay bare what is hidden within each heart, revealing our deepest intentions, the fears we hide, and the truths we prefer not to face. This revelation, terrifying as it may seem, also carries a promise of mercy. Mary, in her messages, constantly reminds us of the importance of conversion, repentance, and prayer as ways to prepare for this moment. The great warning comes not to condemn us, but to give us a chance for renewal, an opportunity to reverse the course of our lives before the most difficult times arrive. The question, then, is not knowing when warning will come, but how will we prepare for it? How can we become more receptive to this divine message, so that when the moment comes, we can embrace Mary's warning in a way that transforms us profoundly? Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because when discussing this great warning, many questions arise that go beyond the event itself. What does Mary really want us to do with this revelation? How can we live according to this prophecy? Knowing that it is closer than we imagine, this is the key to understanding the depth of the warning. What Mary asks of us is not just superficial repentance, but genuine transformation, beginning from within. The great warning is not just a cosmic event, but an invitation for each of us to change, reconcile, and prepare our souls for the times to come. It is a turning point in our spiritual journey, challenging us to reflect on what is truly important and what we need to leave behind. As we delve deeper into this reflection, you begin to realize that the great warning is not limited to a single moment in time. It is linked to a process of ongoing transformation, which requires us to make decisions based on our faith and our deepest values. The warning comes not to haunt us, but to give us the chance to awaken to a truer reality, more aligned with divine purpose. Comment below. I'm on this journey too, if you feel that. By talking about this warning, you are being touched in some way, or if, like many, you feel that the time to act has already come. Preparing for the great warning requires more than just good intentions. Mary, in her apparitions in Medjugorje, called us to live in a way that makes us truly ready for this moment of revelation. She didn't leave this warning for us to ignore or wait for it to happen passively. No, she gave us clear, simple, yet powerful directions on how to prepare ourselves spiritually. And, believe me, it's not just a superficial change in behavior, but a profound transformation of the heart and soul. Preparation begins with prayer. Mary teaches us that prayer is the key to a deep connection with the divine, and it is not just any prayer. She speaks of true prayer, born from the sincerity of the heart. It is not just a repetitive act, but a real encounter with God. When we pray with an open heart, we prepare ourselves to listen, to discern, and to receive the messages sent to us. Prayer must be constant, but not in the sense of simply fulfilling an obligation. It must be a conversation with God, a moment in which we truly stop to reflect, to give thanks, to ask for guidance. This is the prayer Mary asks of us, a prayer full of faith, full of purpose. But prayer alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by fasting. Fasting, as Christian tradition teaches us, is a form of purification, a means of strengthening the spirit and weakening the temptations of the flesh. Fasting doesn't just mean going without food, but above all, it means abstaining from the things that distance us from God and the distractions that prevent us from fully living our faith. By fasting, we create a deeper inner space, a space where God can enter and where we can truly hear ourselves and encounter Him. Mary called us to fast in a practical, simple way, without exaggeration, but with a clear intention, to prepare ourselves spiritually for what is to come. And of course, returning to true faith is one of the most powerful aspects of preparation. Our faith often gets lost amid the routine and challenges of everyday life. We forget what is essential and begin to walk easier, more superficial paths. True faith, the one Mary invites us to seek, is a faith lived in the heart, not just in words. She asks us to return to our Christian essence, to regain trust in God, to trust in His divine plan for us. This faith is not merely intellectual, but practical. It is a faith reflected in our actions, our choices, the way we treat others, and how we approach life. Returning to true faith is a return to a life of surrender, trust, and genuine love. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic. because this spiritual preparation is not something we should do passively. Mary teaches us that preparation is something active, requiring our participation. It's not enough to simply wait for the warning and pray from time to time. Spiritual preparation is a constant effort, a daily practice that involves our decisions, our actions, and even our thoughts. Every choice we make, every attitude we take, can be a preparation for what is to come. The change we need to experience is a change that begins within us, but is reflected in everything around us. Every act of kindness, every moment of sincere prayer, every act of repentance brings us closer to what Mary teaches us. This preparation also involves opening ourselves to the unknown, to what we don't yet fully understand. The spiritual journey often challenges us to continue without seeing the end, to walk by faith rather than certainty. Mary called us to be strong, to have the courage to look within ourselves and confront our weaknesses and limitations. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And what we find on this path is a deeper meaning to life, a peace that can only be found when we sincerely seek God. What's clear is that preparing for the warning isn't something we can put off until tomorrow. The time is now, and each day is an opportunity to draw closer to God's heart. We can't wait until the last moment to begin our journey of conversion. As Mary teaches us, change must begin today, from the inside out. This is the time to look at what truly matters and take the necessary steps to prepare for what's to come. Comment: this makes sense to me if you also feel that spiritual preparation is not a distant task, but something that must be experienced now, with intensity, with an open heart. Despite the gravity of the messages Mary shared with the visionaries, it is essential to remember that, amid all the warnings and cautions, there is a profound promise of hope that must never be forgotten. Even in a scenario where humanity faces spiritual and material challenges, where the light seems to be fading in many hearts, Mary always points to the path of light. She reminds us, with every word, that God's mercy never fails, that even in the darkest situations, there is a divine force capable of transforming us and leading us to peace. Mary's true promise is not only about what will happen, but about how we can still choose transformation. She speaks clearly about the future, but never leaves us without a safe harbor. Even when the warning sounds severe, Mary offers us a guide to move forward, not with fear, but with trust in God's unconditional love. There is a promise extended to each of us if we truly take the path of conversion, prayer, and repentance. Divine mercy will be poured out upon us. No matter where we are, no matter how many mistakes we have made, God's love is stronger than any mistake, and it is precisely this love that Mary wants us to see. At many moments in our lives, it's easy to get lost in the darkness, overwhelmed by the difficulties and adversities that arise. But Mary, with her maternal gaze and infinite kindness, always reminds us that no matter how long and difficult our journey, the light of God's mercy never abandons us. There is always a chance to begin again, an opportunity to place ourselves once again on the path of truth and peace. And this chance comes not with condemnation, but with acceptance, with the loving embrace that calls us to rise and move forward, stronger, wiser, and more connected to our spirituality. Mary's promise goes beyond words of warning. She is not simply warning us of what is to come. She is calling us to a journey of transformation. And this transformation is not something that happens in a single moment, but is an ongoing process, a path of spiritual growth, where every choice we make, every prayer we offer, and every act of love we practice brings us closer to the divine light. This path may be challenging, but its true beauty lies in the fact that, at every step, God is with us, offering His mercy and guiding us toward His love. This process of transformation is a promise, and Mary reminds us that even when we seem lost, there is always an opportunity to redirect ourselves. Even when we make mistakes, God is ready to forgive us, and it is in this forgiveness that we find true peace. God's mercy is not something that runs out or is lost. It is an inexhaustible source, always available to all who sincerely seek conversion. And Mary, with her motherly heart, constantly reminds us of this. She does not present us with a message of fear, but a message of renewed hope, a message that challenges us to believe in God's power to transform our lives, no matter how far we have come. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the transformation Mary promises is not something we can achieve alone. She gives us the tools for this change, calling us to a path of love and faith that requires surrender. But how can we experience this transformation practically in our daily lives? What does it really mean to accept God's mercy and allow it to transform us? As we delve deeper into this journey, we will see that true transformation begins when we decide to look within ourselves and allow God's light to heal the dark areas of our hearts. Mary's promise is not a promise of a distant future, but of a present lived with faith, love, and mercy. And it is from this present, this change in mindset and attitude, that we can begin to live in harmony with the divine plan for our lives. If we can understand this, and if we can follow this path with sincerity, we can be better prepared for the times to come, knowing that, even in adversity, God's mercy will always prevail. Comment below. I'm on this journey too, if you feel that. Mary's promise of transformation and mercy is touching your heart in a profound way. As we look at the world around us, it's impossible not to notice that something is changing. The frenetic pace of modern life, the growing political uncertainty, the environmental issues that threaten our planet, the division among people in matters of faith, ideology, and values. All of this creates a sense of unease, a feeling that we are on the verge of a great transformation. And this is precisely what the messages of Medjugorje warn us about. They tell us of signs that indicate that we are living in the end times, a period of transition where what was once safe and familiar may begin to crumble, revealing a new reality. In her Apparitions, Mary teaches us how to recognize these signs, both visible and invisible. She tells us about a world that, while continuing to function normally, is being marked by changes we can no longer ignore. These signs, according to the messages of Medjugorje, are a reflection of what is happening on a deep spiritual level. They are not only external manifestations, but also an internal condition of every human being, a call to transformation that prepares us for what is to come. But how can we recognize these signs today? How can we know if we are truly living in the end times? The truth is that it's not just a matter of looking outward and observing global events, but also of perceiving the movements within ourselves. Mary speaks of the need for deeper spiritual discernment, a more intense connection with God and with our own soul. These signs are not something that appears clearly and simply. They require us to be attentive, to cultivate an open mind and heart to perceive what is happening on a more subtle level. Visible signs are those we can see and feel immediately. They are related to the chaos that seems to be spreading throughout the world, the increase in violence, hopelessness, and the loss of values. What we have experienced in recent decades, with increasingly frequent natural disasters, political instability, wars, and economic crises, cannot be ignored. These signs do not arise by chance. They remind us of the fragility of the world we live in and how much we need to change. Nature itself, with its catastrophes and imbalances, seems to cry out for our attention, calling us to an urgent change in our attitudes toward the planet and others. But there are also invisible signs, those often hidden beneath the surface of things, but which are equally important. These signs concern the spiritual transformation we need to experience within ourselves. Restlessness in the heart, loss of faith in times of crisis, increased selfishness and indifference, lack of compassion. All these are invisible signs of an inner imbalance that, if left untreated, will lead to a society even more fragmented and distant from its divine essence. Mary invites us to look within ourselves and recognize these signs, because they will determine the path we take in the future. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the signs of the end times are not something to be feared, but something to be understood. This isn't a dystopian future where there is no more hope. On the contrary, these signs are here to help us awaken, to remind us that we have a chance, an opportunity to align ourselves with God's true will. The crisis we see in the world is, in fact, an opportunity for conversion, for spiritual renewal, a return to what is most essential. Mary teaches us that, even in chaos, we can find peace, but to do so, we need to listen to the voice of the Spirit and prepare ourselves for the changes taking place within us and around us. The signs are clear, but how we respond to them makes all the difference. We can allow ourselves to be consumed by fear and hopelessness, or we can use these signs as a springboard to a fuller life, more connected to God and others. Mary's invitation to us is that, when we perceive these signs, we turn to what is eternal, to divine love that never fails. This is the path to transformation, not only of the world, but of each of us, as individuals, as families, and as communities. The world is crying out for something greater, and Mary, in her messages, is calling us to be part of this change. What she reveals to us about the signs of the times is not a simple warning, but an invitation to be agents of the spiritual transformation the world so desperately needs. She calls us to awaken to the hidden truth behind visible circumstances, to perceive the invisible movements that lead us to live with greater faith, more love, and more truth. Comment below. This makes sense to me if you also feel that the signs are increasingly present in your life and in the world around you. And if you are ready to react spiritually and consciously to these times of transformation. Medjugorje is one of the greatest spiritual mysteries of our time. The messages given by Our Lady have touched millions of lives around the world, but aspects of these revelations remain hidden. There's a reason the Church hasn't fully revealed them, and that's what makes it all the more intriguing. What lies hidden in these messages that could be so profound and transformative that, to this day, the Church prefers to keep it secret? Is there something in Mary's words that we still can't fully understand? Or is there a wisdom so powerful, so divine, that we need a deeper spiritual preparation to receive this truth in our hearts? These questions are as fundamental as the mystery of the messages themselves. When we look at what has been revealed and what remains hidden, we realize that these messages are not simply spiritual instructions or predictions of the future. carry such great spiritual weight that, over the years, many have wondered if the world is ready to receive them in full. Why do these messages, which speak directly to the hearts of all of us, still remain secret? Is there something in them that challenges our current understanding of spirituality, something that cannot be revealed until we are truly prepared to receive it? Or is it that the Church, with its authority, fears that full revelation may bring implications we are not ready to face? The truth is that these unrevealed messages contain revelations that go beyond what human eyes can comprehend. They speak of a profound spirituality, of a hidden truth that is directly linked to the destiny of humanity. What lies hidden within them is something that will shake our worldview, our understanding of the divine, and our own existence. Mary, in speaking of a profound truth, not only offers us advice and warnings about the future, she challenges us to reflect on the path we are on. These messages are not just about what will happen, but about how we can change now, while we still have time, to prepare for what is to come. Perhaps the most challenging thing about these revelations is that we cannot control them. We cannot rush the moment when we will be able to fully understand what Mary is telling us. This requires patience, spiritual surrender, and, above all, true faith. While the unrevealed messages remain an enigma, they also invite us into a process of continuous transformation, where each of us must be open to what lies ahead. This process of spiritual preparation is a journey that requires faith, but also a genuine commitment to the truth. Not only of what we already know, but of what we still need to learn. Mary always emphasized the importance of prayer, conversion, and fasting as ways to prepare ourselves for the full revelation of these messages. What prevents us from fully understanding these truths may be our resistance to change, our reluctance to abandon old habits and mindsets that distance us from true spiritual transformation. The process of understanding the messages of Medjugorje, mysterious as it may be, is also an invitation to grow spiritually, to deepen our relationship with God, and to open ourselves to the true wisdom that comes directly from the divine. The fact that the Church has not yet fully revealed these messages leads us to reflect deeply on what is truly at stake. Is there something in them that could radically change the way we live our faith? Perhaps what is hidden is a revelation so powerful, so transformative, that it would change the way we see the world and our relationship with God. Perhaps the messages of Medjugorje, when fully revealed, will be a watershed moment, not only for the Church, but for all humanity. What is hidden in Mary's words is not only a divine mystery, but an invitation to a radical transformation in our lives, to something far beyond our imagination. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because as we begin to peel back the layers of these unrevealed messages, their impact extends far beyond the surface. Mary's unrevealed message is not just a guarded secret. It is a test of our faith, our hearts, and our willingness to change. And as we begin to open our minds to understand what is still hidden, we realize that we are, in fact, being invited on a journey of complete trust in the divine plan, even if it is greater than our human limitations can comprehend. When we are ready to embrace the full revelation, it will come as a wave of grace and illumination, and it is then that we will clearly see the great divine purpose unfolding before us. Comment below. This makes sense to me if you also feel that, even though the messages are still hidden, there is a deep wisdom in each word that was revealed and in each call to transformation. The Medjugorje visionaries are undoubtedly some of the most profound and authentic testimonies of the transformation that occurs when one is directly touched by Mary's words. They are not merely messengers communicating what has been revealed. To them, they are, above all, people experiencing the transformation that Mary desires for all of us. Each of them carries in their hearts the mark of the Medjugorje message, and the way these words have impacted their lives is a reflection of the transformative power that resides in the apparitions. When we look at the visionaries of Medjugorje, we cannot simply see ordinary people. We must see those who, for decades, have been challenged to live according to what was entrusted to them, bearing an immense spiritual responsibility. They have lived, continuously and profoundly, what many of us only hear or try to understand intellectually. They not only bear witness to the messages, but embody them in their own lives, dealing with difficulties and trials in a way that challenges us to look at our own faith and the impact it has on our personal journey. What the visionaries show us above all is that true spirituality is not merely theoretical or distant. It is living and practical. They face personal challenges, like any of us, but they have the courage to transform these difficulties into living testimonies of faith. They have experienced the power of prayer, fasting, and conversion in a way that goes beyond words. For them, Mary's messages are not something that can simply be discussed, but something to be lived at all times. And in doing so, they show us the true impact of the Medjugorje revelations, a transformed life, marked by faith, surrender, and renewed hope. Living these messages is not easy. The visionaries face persecution, doubt, moments of loneliness, and misunderstanding, both from society and from the Church itself. But, in each challenge, they remain faithful to what Mary revealed to them. knowing that the path of true faith requires perseverance. Over the years, they have come to understand that witnessing is not just about communicating words, but about living by those words, even when it's unpopular or seems impossible. What truly stands out in the visionaries' testimonies is the authenticity with which they experienced these revelations. They are not seeking recognition or fame. Their sole goal is to be faithful to what they received and to live their lives as an example of how Mary's messages can transform one's reality. They are, in fact, a mirror of how we can all experience this transformation. When we face life's difficulties, the trials that arise in our path, the messages of Medjugorje invite us to look at these experiences differently, not as obstacles, but as opportunities for spiritual growth. And this is what the visionaries of Medjugorje show us: the power of transformation through faith and prayer. These testimonies are powerful because they show us that, while Mary's messages can be mysterious and even challenging, they are also an invitation to live a life full of purpose and spiritual depth. The transformation the visionaries experienced is not unique to them. It is available to all of us. When we begin to integrate these messages into our lives, as the visionaries did, we begin to live in a way that brings us closer to what God intended for us. We can see, through their examples, that true faith is something that goes beyond theory. It demands action, commitment, and, above all, the courage to live according to divine principles, even when the world around us tells us to give up. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the visionaries' testimony isn't limited to what happened to them, but to what we can learn from the choices they made. The impact of the Medjugorje messages isn't something reserved only for those who personally experienced the apparitions, but something that, if understood correctly, can transform our own lives. How can we apply the visionaries' lessons to our spiritual journey? How can their choices inspire us to live with greater faith, authenticity, and love on our own paths? The journey of the Medjugorje visionaries is a powerful reminder that true faith manifests itself in the way we live our lives, and that spiritual transformation begins with small but profound daily choices. They challenge us to not only listen to the messages, but to act on them, to live with the same purpose and commitment they have demonstrated. In doing so, we can be like them. Living examples of faith and transformation. Comment below. I'm on this journey too. If you feel that the story of the Medjugorje visionaries has something to teach you about your own spiritual journey and how to live in a more authentic and transformative way, the messages of Medjugorje, given over 40 years ago, continue to resonate in our hearts with the same strength and relevance. They are not relics of a distant past or a story that has lost its meaning over time. On the contrary, they are living words, full of spiritual depth that continue to guide us in a world that, more than ever, needs direction and hope. As time passes, these messages become even more pertinent, as they show us the path to a life of true transformation, faith, and connection with God. They speak directly to us about how we should behave, make our choices, and live our faith more authentically, aligned with divine principles. What do these messages tell us about our behavior? When we look at what's happening around us, the growing division, the lack of understanding, the social and spiritual difficulties we face, it's clear that people's behavior, both as individuals and as a society, needs to change. The messages of Medjugorje invite us to live with more kindness, more humility, more love, and understanding. They are not just a call to personal spirituality, but an invitation to make a profound change in how we relate to others and the world around us. What Mary asks of us is that, regardless of the adversities and challenges we face, we be a light for others, bringing peace and hope in times of chaos. But what does this mean for us on a more personal level? How can we apply these messages to our daily lives in a world that is constantly on the move, where distractions are everywhere? The need to return to what truly matters has never been more urgent. The messages of Medjugorje remind us that, above all, we need to cultivate a true relationship with God, not just in words, but in actions. It's easy to get caught up in the pressures of daily life, in worries about work, family, and responsibilities. But Mary's messages call us to find time for prayer, reflection, and fasting to strengthen our faith and our connection with the divine. They also speak about choices, and the choices we make every day have a direct impact on our spiritual life. What Mary teaches us is that we shouldn't make decisions based solely on what's convenient or easy, but based on our faith and our deepest values. The choices we make, both in our actions and our words, should reflect God's love, the compassion, and mercy He offers us. Often, we are so focused on what's in front of us, on our difficulties, on our daily lives, that we forget to step back and consider whether our choices are aligned with divine principles. The messages of Medjugorje challenge us to look at our decisions with a new perspective, more centered on God and His plan for us. Mary also calls us to live a true faith, and this faith is not merely intellectual or formal, but practical, lived every day. Faith is not just going to Mass or performing rituals, but a daily surrender, a deep trust that, even in moments of doubt or difficulty, God is with us and will guide us. This is something that is reflected in our daily attitudes, in how we treat others, in how we react to adversity, and in how we seek God in our lives. True faith is that which translates into actions, into decisions that reflect trust in God and His love for us. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the messages of Medjugorje aren't just about faith, but about how we can live it authentically and transformatively. We live in a world where distractions are constant, and it's easy to get lost in the chaos. But the central message of Medjugorje is that true peace can only be found when we turn to God, when we choose to live our faith more fully and consciously. This doesn't mean that life will be without challenges, but rather that by focusing on what truly matters, on divine love and the mercy offered to us, we can overcome any obstacle. These messages, which Mary brought us, call us to an awakening, to a renewal of our mindset so that we can truly live according to the teachings of Christ. And this is not something we can do alone, but rather with the help of God, prayer, and true inner conversion. The messages of Medjugorje not only invite us to change our lives now, but also prepare us for the times to come, teaching us to live with a pure heart, with unshakable faith, and with the desire to be a light to the world around us. Comment below. This makes sense to me if you also feel that. By reflecting on these messages, you begin to realize how they can shape your daily choices and attitudes, bringing true transformation to your life. The messages of Medjugorje are more than simple prophecies or predictions about the future. They are an urgent invitation to transform our lives. Mary did not come to us simply to warn us about the difficult times we are living in, but to offer us a unique opportunity for change. She calls us to act, to prepare for what is to come, but more than that, she challenges us to begin this transformation now. What will you do with this information? How will you respond to Mary's divine call to us, so that we can not only survive these difficult times but transform them into an opportunity for a new beginning, a fuller life, more aligned with God's will? What's at stake here is not just the distant future, but our spiritual journey now. The messages of Medjugorje touch directly on the deepest questions of our being. They ask us to reflect on our choices, our faith, and above all, on how we live, our spirituality in our daily lives. What Mary asks of us is that we return to the path of conversion, sincere prayer, fasting, and true faith, and that, in doing so, we may experience a real and profound transformation within ourselves. We can no longer ignore the cry echoing from the hill of Medjugorje. This cry is a call to all of us, regardless of where we are, what faith we profess, or how we are living our spiritual lives. The messages of Medjugorje speak of the need for personal transformation, but also of the importance of being connected to one another on a common journey. This is a time of spiritual union, a time of awakening, when we can no longer postpone the changes we need to make in our lives. Now, more than ever, is the time to act. The time for waiting and procrastination is over. Mary invites us to make clear and firm decisions, to prepare for the future with faith and hope, to seek inner transformation so that we can be ready for the times to come. This is a crucial moment, and every choice we make now has a profound impact on our spiritual destiny. What will you do with what you've learned so far? How will you apply the messages of Medjugorje to your life, so that your faith becomes more alive, truer, and more transformative? The journey of faith that Mary proposes to us is challenging, but also full of light and hope. She reminds us that, no matter how difficult the times, God's mercy is always greater. And it is this mercy that offers us the chance to change, to renew our spirit, and to live a life more aligned with God's purpose. No matter where you are now, what matters is what you do from now on. Transformation begins with the decision to follow Mary's path, with the desire to live our faith truly and deeply, with a heartfelt surrender to what God asks of us. Comment below. This makes sense to me if you also feel that the time has come to act, to respond to Mary's call, and to live in a more truthful and transformative way on your spiritual journey. If you've made it this far, it's because, in some way, these words touched you. The journey of faith I shared is more than just content. It's an invitation for us to reflect together on what we can transform in our lives. If this video resonated with you, tell me in the comments. This message was for me. This helps me know we're on this journey together. And if you felt this content could make a difference in your life, leave a like. It's a way of showing that we're connected and that what we share here has value. Now, there's a video right here that complements this topic well. Click it and follow me there. Let's continue this journey together, with more light, more faith, and more transformation. See you then.